Where do you see Sabaton in 5 years' time? Hopefully the same 5 guys. Hopefully still having as much fun as we're having today. Simple as that.
I know that it's always important for anybody who leads a business to have a 5, 10, 15-year-old plan. Yes, I can make a plan, and I do have a plan that stretches until the end of 2027. Further beyond there, I don't make an exact plan because I like as well to be a little bit flexible. I know that there's a lot of stuff going on these years, and yeah, but all the way 5 years from now on, I think I stay concentrated in the now for now.
We probably have wrapped up the Legendary Tour. A new album is probably on the way. If I can choose and have my way, things would continue pretty much as they are. Record, tour, release great music, have fun, and tour. And release music and tour, and have a good time, play the drums, maybe release a new album. Yeah, that's a couple of this, probably 15, 16 years right there.
Why do you felt it was time to move in a different direction that strays from world wars? Yeah, I think that we sort of outplayed First World War. Even though there are tons of stories we didn't tell, there's only so much variations of the music you can put into it. And there are limits when you are doing so much about First World War, for example. You won't be able to use all kind of vocabulary. It's sort of limited to the same things. There's 4 years of history. Legends now has 3,500, so it's a little bit more wider span. First World War, even though it was a world war, most of the stuff happened on the European continent, and most of it looked very similar. In Legends, nothing feels or looks very similar because we have such a span of time and geographics.
I think it's a very fresh topic for everyone. I think it's, you can put as much, you can spend endless amount of time in World War I specifically, or World War II, but I think we did that for a bit now. 2 whole albums dedicated only to that. Moving into Legends, which is obviously more mythical and less factual, perhaps. It's a very fresh topic to sing about, and I think the album turned out great. I think you can hear that it's some new inspiration in there.
A different era was needed, and I would say this album certainly puts us in a different era. I mean, we are dealing with Senusret III in ancient Egypt. We're talking 1800 before Christ up to Napoleon, so roughly 1800 after Christ. Kind of a big span, but it's nice.
It's nice to have a look around, I guess, and see what's more out there.
How do you feel about this new direction? Was it a band-wide decision? I mean, most of these kind of decisions happen between me and Joakim. But we always have a will that everybody feels passionate about what we are doing. I think when we came up with the idea of Legends, everybody was suddenly agreed that this is a very nice topic that we all feel about.
I feel good about it. If it was a band-wide decision or if it was mostly on me and Per, I don't know. But I think it was something, I think everybody in the band felt like it was good to get out of World War I era. I mean, there's still fantastic and amazing amount of stuff from World War I that we could cover. I mean, could probably make 5 more albums of World War I without running out of stories. But we felt like we were done. It's kind of dark and brown, and we felt we needed something new. And this was the direction we were going in, and I'm happy we did.
How do you find the topics of the song? From fan suggestions or personal interest? Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it's a fresh take on the whole thing. I think it's more mythical and legendary, which intends to be a little bit more imagination there to it.
We do listen to fans, and we get ideas from fans that we wouldn't get ourselves. So keep sending those in. But when it came to Legends, these were all in our within our reach, so to say. And we didn't need to search hard. There were so many of them and so easy to find them. It was more of a struggle, like, where do they fit in? But thankfully, it's also a very open musically topic that lyrics are easily to fit in. If we would have these 11 songs and we would have done the War to Adult Wars, I think we would have to cut out a couple of them because they wouldn't fit to the topic of First World War. But with Legends, we always knew we're gonna make it work.
A mix of both, actually. Some of them are obviously stuff you come across, being interested in military history or basically growing up in the Western world. I mean, it's impossible to grow up and not hear about Napoleon or Caesar, at least in this part of the world. So some of them are pretty obvious from that point of view. The trickiest part with this album, I'd say, is like we love to bring up stuff that nobody expected. However, if nobody's ever heard about this, they wouldn't be legends. So we had to work like in, geographically in a way. So for us, Tiger Among Dragons, Lu Bu, the Chinese general, is pretty, I'd say it's pretty uncommon for people in Western Europe to be familiar with him. Maybe to some certain extent, Miyamoto Musashi, the duelist. And the other aspect we could work in is time. So go further back in time. So yeah, there's going to be legends from further back in history that are maybe being forgotten now. And then we're on the territory of Senusret III, ancient Egypt, 1800 before Christ.
In your opinion, what is the most fascinating legend on this album and why? So the one that I always found interesting is Vlad and the song Impaler. For the reason, like, very, very, very long time ago, my first like little school essay or whatever you can call it when I was quite young, but the first words I wrote about something when I had to do a little research was supposed to be about vampires. But it turned out to change into being about Vlad being the origin of vampires and how the vampire came out of him. And then I started I discovered Vlad. And that's a very, very long time ago. But I always found his story interesting, and among all of them, he's one of them who have influenced the modern culture the most, obviously. But his real story is very interesting. So
Caesar is hugely interesting. There's so much to discover. But when researching that, you know, as somebody who's passionate about military history, there weren't that many surprises. Certainly there were things when doing the research I didn't know, but I wasn't blown away by all of these stories that I'd never heard before. But I think one of the bigger surprises, even though I was aware of him, was Miyamoto Musashi from The Duelist. Because obviously him being a, you know, Ronin, sword saint, or, you know, some famous samurai, The Duelist, I did not know that much about the philosophical side of him and him writing the Book of Five Rings, which I used, by the way, in the lyrics of that song. The pre-choruses are excerpts from his book, The Book of Five Rings. So that was a nice experience.
It's a hard question. Most fascinating. I think the Hannibal thing, you know, across the Alps and all that, that's pretty cool.